The Boxing Day races from the Whanganui Cemetery Circuit, proudly brought to you by Suzuki.
Coverage of the Suzuki International Series is brought to you by Suzuki. The third and final round of the Suzuki International Series would once again be played out in front of a huge crowd of sun-baked bike fans around the infamous cemetery circuit at New Zealand's famous river city, Whanganui. At a circuit where the spectators can reach out and touch the riders, it was fitting that those same riders would salute their fans with a helmetless parade. Riders from all four corners of the globe and the best that New Zealand had to offer would test themselves around this 1.6 kilometre circuit, dotted with power poles, white lines, manhole covers and a railway track, as they had done for over 65 years. This is the cemetery circuit. The series started under dark clouds and the threat of rain at Taupo's round one. The big crowd was on hand both days, but they would be disappointed when racing was called on day two. Much better weather and another good crowd greeted competitors at the Manfield Auto Course Circuit Chris Amon for round two, where in the always competitive F2 class, Richie Dibbins' luck continued to be bad.
Yeah, I mean, just a bit of a rough start, especially at Taupo. Just had a bit of a freak crash, and then yesterday had a bit of an off at speed, and then today's been good. So yeah, just need to get a bit of bad luck out of the way, and yeah, look forward to Boxing Day and hopefully have a good day there and without any hiccups.
Heading into Whanganui's final round, just 6 points separated Palmerston North Ashton Hughes from series leader Rogan Chandler.
Yeah, I've gotten pretty lucky. Yeah, our riding's come together and the bike's a lot better this year, so you know everyone's putting in the work and luckily we're sort of reaping the rewards a little bit.
Another to experience the wrong luck was Auckland's Toby Summers on the Carl Cox Kawasaki.
Yeah, I've had a bit of bad luck the first two rounds. Now we're at Cemetery Circuit, which the track I enjoy a lot. We just had qualifying. I managed to get it on pole, which I'm pretty happy about, but that's just one lap. We got a few races to go, and hopefully we can see what happens.
Stepping down to the F2 600cc machines, Hawke's Bay's Adam Chambers.
Excited to be back on a 600 around here. We gave the superbike a nudge for a couple of years, but we got offered the 600 ride through Barnes Jenkins, which is really nice of it. So excited to be back on a 600, and hopefully we might be nearer the front than we have been the last couple of weeks.
Making her street circuit debut this year, current New Zealand 600 Supersport champion Avalon Biddle.
Running the #1 plate this year, so I feel a bit of pressure, to be honest, and we started the season not quite up to speed, so we're definitely getting there now, and yeah, obviously can't wait for the New Zealand Championship to kick off in January.
No doubt spurred on by all her male competition, Biddle decided after watching the event for years it was time to try the streets.
It's going smoother than I thought. The track's not too bad, it's pretty rough, but it's still enjoyable. I'm having a lot of fun, and yeah, not doing too badly.
A third row start after the all-important qualifying for New Zealand's first lady of motorcycling. With Toby Summers on pole and class points leader Rogan Chandler starting on row 2, the stage was set. Well, Ipony Oils bring us Formula 2 here at Whanganui, the third and final round of the Suzuki International Series. On pole position, number 22, right to the left as you look at the pictures. That is Toby Summers. Alongside him is the points series leader, and that is Rogan Chandler from Upper Hutt. Away they go. Good start from the 15, but an even better one from the 22 down on the inside as they head down into the Gilmore Homes turn number 1. And it is Richie Dibbin that's gone out into the front, the Whanganui lad, on the Suzuki GSXR 600. Taking the pictures there from the 22 of Toby Summers. Adam Chambers moves through into second place as they cross the Suzuki crossing for the first time. Dibbin doing double duty today. You'll see him out in Supermoto as well. Had wretched luck in the first 2 rounds of the Suzuki International Series. Involved in a couple of crashes, one in Taupo and then another major accident at Mansfield. That's why he's a little ways further down the points order than he'd want to be. Everyone's safely on 2 wheels. Adam Chambers gets a little bit closer and gets a bit of a wiggle on as they head up over the Bridgestone Bridge for the first time. It is Dibbin, it is Chambers, it is Summers. They've already started to clear out a little bit of a lead. I think it'll be Ashton Hughes chasing them on bike number 4. As into turn 1 they come once again, and then down the short chute into the Mars Pet Care turn. We're chasing the race leader, Richie Dibbin, on the Suzuki. In second place, it is the 64, Adam Chambers. Very quick round here a few seasons ago now on a Honda 600 for Jamie Raychek, and had a great battle with the 22 of Toby Summers, who sits just distantly third now. Just look at the speed as they head down into the trade zone, Robert Holden turn. Dibbin crashes it down onto the curb and then works his way down the trade zone straight into the curves and down towards the hooker curves now and up toward the Bridgestone Bridge. It is the 115, Richie Dibbin. Tells us that he wants to concentrate on the 600. As I said, you'll see him out in the Supermotos as well, but it's the 600s he's been riding in Australia in our off-season, and it's the 600s he wants to make his mark, because he's already done that on the Supermoto machine. This is a battle further down through the field. You're watching Ashton Hughes comes into the final round of the Suzuki International Series in third place. Make it second place, being chased by the points leader. This is Rogan Chandler. Up into the Suzuki crossing they go once again. Down the inside he drifts and takes the spot away. Chandler goes through as well. So these two have got together right throughout the International Series thus far, both at Taupo and also Mansfield. You ride with Chandler as they head down into the Robert Holden turn, named after the late great Robert Holden, who sadly lost his life in the Isle of Man at a crash back in 1996. He's the most winningest rider ever around the cemetery circuit here at Whanganui. We go back to the front of the field. 22 getting a little bit closer. This is Toby Summers from Auckland on the R&R Power Sports, Carl Cox Motorsport, Mad Love Media Kawasaki ZX6, sitting in third place at the moment. Another Kawasaki in second. That's the Barnes Jenkins number 64 of Adam Chambers. Dives up the inside of the 119. And Chambers trying to make the pass stick, and he does. I thought Dibbin was going to give him a bit of a problem there as they moved out, as they went through the Suzuki crossing and up down toward the Robert Holden turn. The versatile builders straight. They both hug the curb through Robert Holden, but a leader change now. It is Hawke's Bay's Adam Chambers in the front. Number 119, Richie Dibbin back in second place. And somehow, Toby Summers has drifted off that pace as well. Over the Bridgestone Bridge they come. It is Chambers. Flirted with the superbikes a couple of seasons ago. Great to see him back on the 600 though. Half distance in this first Formula 2 race, brought to you by Oponi Oils. On board here with the man in third place, Toby Summers. Down the visitwanganui.com straight. Now out onto Taupo Quay they come once again. Once again the 64 just gets a little bit untidy under brakes. That's how hard these guys are pushing. There is Richie Dibbin. Now a Suzuki shop owner here in Whanganui. As I said, made his mark in Supermoto, but has switched his allegiances a little bit to the 600 machine. Still going to ride the RMZ 450 in the Supermoto a little bit later on today at Whanganui. At the moment, he's in second place. Once again, closing up the gap in third. Across the top of the Bridgestone Bridge, they come once again, and it's the 22 of Toby Summers, getting a little bit closer now to Dibbin. Well, these two have battled long and hard in Supermoto competition for years and years and years. And then Toby decided to cash his lot in road racing, and he's been road racing ever since. Richie Dibbin, a relative newcomer to the Tar Babies, as they work across the Suzuki crossing once again. Heading up Hedge Road, 64, Chambers leads at Dibbin in second. Once again, Summers closes the gap. He's faster through the curves and into the versatile home straight is the Auckland Plumber. And you can see that for yourselves as we ride on board here with Toby Summers. Through Robert Holden they go once again. There is nothing in this, and Summers has got even closer to Richie Dibbin. And by coincidence, Dibbin's swallowed up the gap between himself and the race leader, and that's number 64, and that is Adam Chambers. You ride with Summers down into turn 1. The Gilmore Holmes turn 1, the 90-degree corner. There is Rogan Chandler, and behind Chandler it would be Ashton Hughes. So this is the next battle group on the order as they come through. There is Tarbin Walker. We go back to the front of the field, and it's still Adam Chambers out of the Hawke's Bay. Spent a lot of time in Australia, now living back at home. A young father these days. Heading through the Suzuki curves down the Versatile Builders Straight once again. Dibben getting a little bit closer, just leaves the braking a fraction later through Robert Holden. But there's nothing he can do. He's not denting the armour of Adam Chambers at the moment. And once again, Toby Summers just seems to drift off the pace a little bit as they go through the trade zone corner and through the Hooker Transport curves. Summers down the inside, or the outside as we look at it, looking to put a move on Dibben. Can't get it done. You're back on board here with the Carl Cox Motorsport, Mad Love Media, Kawasaki of Toby Summers. R&R Power Sports helping him out as well. Out on the Taupo Key they come once again. This is the Sharp Airs long haul straight this year. Across the railway line they go, up into the S's. Still nothing in this. You could throw a large blanket over the three of them. This has been scintillating racing. We've seen it right throughout the season in the Suzuki International Series. Dibben goes for the inside pass on the man from Hawke's Bay and gets it done. Chambers comes back at him. We ride with Chambers. Into Robert Holden they go. Out down the short chute they come through now. And Summers is back in the mix as well. Chambers goes back to the front. Summers jumps Dibben and moves into second place. So the laps are starting to wind down here. Final lap, white flag out, and Toby Summers looking to pounce on Adam Chambers. Can he get it done here through turn 1? Dives to the inside. Will we have a new race leader as they head down out onto Taupo Key? The Sharp Airs long haul straight. Lap rider in the way there, that's David Neal. He'll just hold his line and let the fast boys go through. And we have got a new leader. It's the Auckland plumber, Toby Summers. Third in points going into this one. Oh, and the red flag's come out. Oh, that's the last thing that Toby Summers wanted to see. And you just got a glimpse of a rider down up against the air fence. So the race has been stopped now with on the last lap, so I'm pretty sure they'll declare it. Oh, and that is Tarbin Walker. We've mentioned him before. Straight out of Gixxer Cup and into the 600s. So the red flag comes out, and that means the race will finish under red. And that means we'll go back to the last fully recorded lap to decide the result. That's desperate bad luck for Toby Summers, but in contrast, very good luck for Adam Chambers. So the judges called it that way as well. Chambers gets the win from Toby Summers in second place, so Kawasaki 1 and 2. Then it was the Suzuki of Richard Dibben, and then the Yamaha of Rogan Chandler.
The red flag's never ideal. We still had a lap to go. I felt like we had enough pace, I think, to throw another move in there. So, yeah, I don't know. The red flag, I don't think, decided it. It was maybe a bit unlucky for Toby, but that's racing. We led a lot of laps, so we'll take the win for sure.
Well, just a taste of what's to come here at the Cemetery Circuit. Come back after the break for F1 and F2 sidecars.
The Boxing Day races from the Whanganui Cemetery Circuit, proudly brought to you by Suzuki.
The sidecars always provide plenty of action, and doing just that at Manfield's round 2 with Dan Jenkins, the swinger, and Dennis Charlotte. With the biggest field of international riders in the F1 and F2 chairs this season, there was no surprise that the standouts in round 1 at Taupo were Estelle LeBlond and Frank Clays.
Yes, we just discovered the track, and it's a beautiful track, very interesting to walk, technical and fast part, and that's good, yes.
It looked very smooth out there in that last one.
Yeah, it's very nice curves from longer to short, and yeah, it looks like to be a little bit more on road racing from long to short, and it's very fast, yeah, just what we like.
The French-Belgian pairing looked fast on their 600cc F2 rig, easily stretching away from their fellow F2 competitors.
But yeah, I was thinking also that they are very fast, but I not have always the time to looking behind me. Yeah, I don't really know what they doing or something. I really concentrate myself, and also I think Estelle also on what we see on the front of us.
sadly their luck ran out at round 2. Engine problems for their race motor and spare prevented them from shining at Circuit Chrysamen. After a red flag, race 1 of the sidecars had to be restarted, getting away best of all number 17 of Spike Taylor and Graham Wilkinson from Masterton. Chasing them, Barry Smith and Tracy Bryan on the 73 and Estelle LeBlanc and Frank Clays on letter L. The Europeans all aggression, taking second spot from Smith and Bryan heading onto Taupo Quay on lap 1. Still aggressive as they came into the Robert Holden turn, clipping the inside curve, costing them momentum, and they slipped from challenging for the lead to third, and then compounded things by running wide at the trade zone corner. Whatever could go wrong did for the Europeans. For Blond and Clays, the rest of the race would be in catch-up mode. Checkered flag came out, it was the Barry and Tracy show, the past champions taking the win on their F2 machine. So this is race number 2 for the sidecars. Down on pole position, it is the letter L, and that is Estelle LeBlanc and Frank Clays. Inside of them, number 17, that's Spike Taylor, past New Zealand champion. And on the inside, the 73 of Barry Smith and Tracy Bryan. Good start, too, from the 111 of Pete the Pirate Goodwin and Kendall Dunlop. In fact, they may slot into third place as they head down into Taupo Quay for the first of 6 times. So it is the L, Estelle LeBlanc and Frank Clays. Plenty of experience in this European combination. Estelle from France, Frank from Belgium. Both of them raced extensively in the Isle of Man. 15 starts, 9 finishes for Estelle. Probably France's preeminent female sidecar rider. They're on F2 machines, 600cc machines, but still they bark through the corners, as you got good evidence of that through the trade zone corner. You ride here looking into the helmet of Frank Clays, the vastly experienced Frank Clays. It is Estelle LeBlanc doing the driving. Second place, it would be the 73 of Tracy Bryan, swinging for Barry Smith, another combination that are past New Zealand champions, and these two starting to break away a little bit from the rig in third place. And that would still be the 17, I think, of Spike Taylor and Graham Wilkinson. That's a brand new Windle for Taylor and Wilkinson. They debuted that at the Southern Classic meeting in Timaru just a few weeks ago. 111, Pete the Pirate, Goodwin and Kendall Dunlop now through in third place by the look of it. We're back on board here with the Europeans, and it is Barry Smith and Tracy Bryan getting a little bit closer this time round. Well, they were all aggression in the first race of the collegiate sidecars, and it cost them big time. They overshot the trade zone corner and had to play catch-up from then on. They're in the front of this one, though, and as we saw at Taupo in round 1, this rig is so fast and this combination is so smooth, already you see them starting to pull away. There is Barry Smith and Tracy Bryan. 111, Pete Goodwin and Kendall Dunlop. Then it's Spike Taylor and Wilkinson. And then it would be the 83. You're riding on board here with Dennis Charlotte and Dan Jenkins. Dennis Charlotte's won just about every New Zealand title on 2 wheels. So a season ago, he decided he would try his hand at sidecar racing. Well, it's been a sometime pretty painful learning experience, but he's got the better of it now. The Mega Motorcycle Centre, LCR, Dennis Charlotte and Dan Jenkins heading under the Emmets Bridge up towards Robert Holden they go, currently sitting in 4th place. Dennis says, as you would expect, it's a vastly different animal from all the 2-wheeled machines he's ridden. He's a past 125 champion, Grand Prix champion. He's a past 600 sports production champion. He's a past superbike champion. He's won the F3s. He's won Pro Twins. He's won just about every title going in New Zealand. Estelle LeBlanc and Frank Clays still in command of this one. And as we look behind to see the 73 just getting a little bit closer. Not a good start for Barry Smith and Tracy Bryan at round 1. They had contact on the long front straight at Taupo and resulted in quite a high-speed crash. And I know that Tracy was having a little bit of difficulty walking after that crash and then sitting down, even at round 2 at Manfield. They're contending in the F2 category. That's the 600cc machines. But the 111 currently on your screens at the moment is a F1 machine, so a 1000cc machine. So too for Spike Taylor and Graham Wilkinson. So battles within battles here in the sidecars, brought to you by the Collegiate Hotel in Whanganui, the place where a lot of the teams stay each and every year here at the cemetery circuit. Beat the Pirate, as he is known. He always wears a bandana under his helmet, and Kendall Dunlop. Last year, Pete was with Louise Blythe. Louise is in this race, and she is swinging with Jeremy Joyce out of Australia. They're currently sitting in 5th or 6th place, I think, at the moment. Race leader out onto Taupo Key once again. The 73 may be getting a little bit closer, but the telephoto lens certainly foreshortening things. There is the 111. That's Pete the Pirate. Then it's Spike Taylor in 4th place. In behind them, it's the 83, Dennis Charlotte and Dan Jenkins. Dan Jenkins, a very accomplished rider on 2 wheels, as well as a pretty good swinger on 3. And in behind them, it would be the J, and that's Jeremy Joyce and Louise Blythe. So this group's starting to tighten up just a little bit as the laps go down. Just 6 laps for the sidecars, remember. Dennis Charlotte over the Bridgestone Bridge and down the front straight once again. Into turn 1, this is the Gilmore Homes corner. Down the visitwanganui.com straight and into the Mars Pet Care corner they go. These are the leaders though. Over the railway line they go, up through the Suzuki S's. Heading down towards the Versatile building straight and then on to Robert Holden. And I don't know, my eyes might be deceiving me, but I think the 73 is just getting a little bit closer. Estelle LeBlanc told us she's absolutely loving her time in New Zealand, of course, experiencing a summer Christmas. Not quite summer back home in France. And look at the way Frank Pay's just working like a gymnast, just trying to keep the balance just absolutely dead right on the rig. Lap traffic coming up here. Is this going to play a part? No, they do the sensible thing and hold their line. And that is the M of Morgan and Dion Marshall. So the leader clears them. Oh, and Barry Smith and Tracy Bryan just struggle a little bit to get around them. And that's given a little bit of breathing space to the L of Estelle LeBlanc and Frank Clays. And you can see it for yourself as they head out of the Suzuki crossing once again. So the order at the moment, L, 73 and 17, and then it would be J and 83 by the look of it. This time as they head down into Robert Holden, the 73, breathing right down the neck of Frank Page. You see it from the onboard. Looking behind at the New Zealand pairing, Barry Smith and Tracy Bryan. Tracy looking one way, then the other. Can they make the pass stick right around the outside as they head down the hooker curves and up onto the Bridgestone Bridge come the New Zealanders. Past New Zealand champions, this combination, with the big LCR machine. And the leaders at the moment in the F2 competition, after the bad luck that befell LeBlanc and Clays. So laps to run here in the sidecars. Brought to you by Quality Inn Collegiate Hotel in Whanganui. 73 in the front now. Carl Cox Motorsports sponsored Barry Smith and Tracy Bryan. Tracy doing double duty here as well. She's also swinging with her brother in the classic sidecars. There is LeBlanc and Clays. Bit of a gap back to the 3rd place rig, the 17 of Spike Taylor and Graham Richardson. Leaders go through the Robert Holden turn, down the trade zone straight. Meantime, we're on board here with Dennis Charlotte in the Mega Motorcycle Centre LCR. This is a F1 rig. Just coming up onto the back of Morgan and Dion Marshall. Remember, these guys are a lap down, so they do the sensible thing and just hold their line. It's up to Dennis to try and make the pass as they go through the hooker curves and up towards the Bridgestone Bridge, and they do so safely. So the Ace of Man rig not having the best of times out there. White flag out, so checkered flag will be shown very shortly to our race leaders. And at this stage, it should be the 73, and there they are through the Suzuki crossing. So they're on their last lap. Doesn't take long to do 6 laps here on a sidecar, not when they're lapping around about the 54, 55 second mark. And that's exactly what Barry Smith and Tracy Bryan are doing on the Carl Cox Motorsport F2 machine. Remember, 600 cc's. F2 bikes limited to 600cc machinery. And that's what they run at the Isle of Man. 73, Barry Smith and Tracy Bryan looking to put another win in the book here at Whanganui, the infamous cemetery circuit. There is the current rig in second spot, and that is the L of Estelle LeBlond and Frank Clays, and they're going to have to be content with second. Cross the line in third place. Looks like it'll be the 111 of the Pirate and Kendall Dunlop, and in fourth place it was Dennis Charlotte and Dan Jenkins. Fifth place goes to Jeremy Joyce and Louise Blythe, the Australian-New Zealand combination, in fifth.
There was a lot of people here at this race come to watch, so that's very, very nice to see the children and all that on the track. That's good.
It's Barry, the goal was the F2 championship in the Suzuki Series, and you've done that?
Yep, I'm really pleased to do that, especially on the little F2, as, especially here. It was the first time we've won as a team here, so really chuffed to win both races today. It was good.
The Boxing Day races from the Whanganui Cemetery Circuit, proudly brought to you by Suzuki.
The QS Boat Builders, Formula Sports and Bears cater for older F1 machinery, predominantly Japanese, and Bears, British, European, American racing series. And in race 1, it was Dan McKenzie in the early lead. Second place was held by series points leader Ashley Payne, but it was all short-lived because of this. First, a localised yellow was shown, and then when the fire started, the red flag, and the race was stopped. So this is the rerun of the Formula Sport Bears, brought to you by Q West Boat Builders, big supporters of the Whanganui Boxing Day racing, and have a look for the 72 there, and that is Ash Payne. Oh, and he's overshot, he's missed the first turn, and that one, we've got a couple down as well. Well, it's all gone horribly wrong for Ashley Payne, and there is him just rejoining, and I'd say he's rejoined absolutely in last place. So he's got a bit of work to do, because this is a big field. The Formula Sport and Bears, as I said, predominantly British, European, American machinery, and the older F1 machinery there as well. And riding one of those older bikes, number 96, this is Sam Willisey on the GSXR 750 Suzuki. So he is the race leader as they work their way through Trade Zone, down towards the Hooker Curves and onto the Bridgestone Bridge for the first time. 96, Sam Willisey took a well-deserved win in round 2 at Manfield Circuit. Chris Amon as well. You're on board here with Steve Bridge out of Narrawahia. There is the 96. This is Sam Willisey, the son of Alan Flea Willisey, the promoter here in the Suzuki International Series. So he'll be happy with his son's performance at the moment. You're on board here with Stephen Bridge from Narrawahia on the big Ducati, the F1 Motorcycle Centre-sponsored machine. Battle for second and third, hotting up just a little bit there. Mark Perry in the mix as well. Back on board here with Ash Payne, and he's like a Pac-Man, gathering up the opposition, gobbling up the opposition as he tries to make up for what was a terrible start for him. He got it absolutely, completely wrong at the Gilmore Holmes turn 1, overshot, rejoined in last place, and now he is battling back. There is Mark Perry from Sanson on the Aprilia. Right in behind him is Stephen Bridge. Stephen Bridge's been around a long, long time, always a huge supporter of the Ducati machinery. Through there is number 70 as well, and that is Jason Lamb. Just up ahead of him, 74, Steve Bates. And I think you see just in the back of the shot there, just coming into shot now, that is the 72, and that is the points leader, and that is Ash Payne. On board here with Ash Payne. Now it gets a little bit harder because he's starting to encounter bikes that are doing the similar speed that he is. Remember, he's come from the very back of the field, already up inside the top 10, but he's got a little bit of work to do here. And he is absolutely flying as the outshot shows, through the Suzuki S's, down the versatile home straight into Whanganui Trade Zone Robert Holden, down the Trade Zone short shoot and into the Trade Zone 90-degree turn, out onto the Hooker Curves, down past the Dog Pound and up onto the Bridgestone Bridge. 74 Bates is the next victim for the 72. You just got a glimpse of him there. I can tell you that Ash Payne also on a Suzuki machine, a GSXR 750. That's the same sort of bike as the race leader, Jason Bardell, on the BMW number 49, leading this little battle group. So it's getting harder and harder for Payne, but he's passing them like they're chained to posts at the moment. He's got his eyes set on one prize, and that is to get to the front of the field. Goes past Bardell's already gone past Bates. Next target will be the number 70, and that's Jason Lamb. There he is just ahead of him. The Suzuki mounted Ashley Payne. Whanganui, they'll have plenty of people cheering for him here in this huge crowd, sunning themselves in the 28 degrees plus conditions we've got here. Hot track temperatures, hot off the track as well. It's all happening at Whanganui, the third and final round of the Suzuki International Series. And at the moment, it's all happening for the 72. There is 49. This is Jason Bardell on the BMW. I should also tell you that the Bears are split into senior and junior, and that is on CC capacity of the engines. On board here with Stephen Bridge, he's got up into second place now. Perry goes back into third, and then there's daylight between the rest of them, and it would be Jason Lamb, and right in behind him from last to fourth, and that is Ash Payne. You're on board here with Payne. Through the Suzuki crossing they go, down past the VIP hospitality area, under the Emmets Bridge. So Ash Payne chasing Jason Lamb here. This is for position. Remember, Ash Payne, who we ride with through Robert Holden, started dead last after overshooting turn one. He's already up into about fifth place at the moment. To get past Payne, he will be in fourth. Ahead of him, Sam Willesee, the race leader, in second place. Stephen Bridge on the Ducati. Willesee on the Suzuki. You're riding with Ash Payne here. Payne on another Suzuki 750, gets past Lamb, so he's into the top four now. This has been a giant killing performance. There is the race leader across the railway line at the Suzuki crossing. 27 is Graham Billington. He's about to be swallowed up by the fast closing Sam Willesee. You're on board here with Willesee as they head down into Robert Holden once again. Lap riders doing the sensible thing. All the fast guys ask is that they hold their line. They don't try and drift to the outside, they just hold their line. Stephen Bridge tries to go around the outside, then the inside, threading the needle as they work their way towards the Bridgestone Bridge once more. Willesee has cleared away though. There he is on the 96. So at least 2 laps left in it because no sign of the white flag. There is Stephen Bridge, and right back into this is Mark Parry from Sanson on the Aprilia. 2 lap riders just trundling through there as well. The next one on the money, I'm picking, will be Ash Payne. We'll have a look as they head down Taupo Quay once again. This is the Sharpaz long haul straight. Through the Suzuki crossing they go. 96, Sam Willesee, getting all the encouragement from the huge crowd here at the Cemetery Circuit, the infamous Cemetery Circuit. Well, it's lived up to its name today because we've had several red flags. There's been several crashes, none serious, luckily. But certainly putting a bit of a dent in the program. You're on board here with a man in second place, and that is Stephen Bridge. Great to see Stephen back and competitive on the big Ducati. Been a stalwart of the Ducatis for a long, long time now. White flag out, 1 to go. Third place man looking to swallow up another one of the lap runners, and that is Mark Perry. Back on board here was second. Lap riders in front of Stephen Bridge here. I know that Jared Love's been helping Stephen through the Suzuki International Series. Just does the sensible thing and gets out of the throttle, just lets the lap rider find his feet, or in this case his wheels, as they come through. And that was Paul Jenkins on the Suzuki 600, so he's in the junior version of the Formula One and Bears race combination, brought to you by Q West Boats. Here is the race leader. He's heading towards the checkered flag. This will be a very popular win for young Sam Willesee. Spent last year up in the Northern Hemisphere, came back, helped his dad with the air fences and building the circuit here at Whanganui, and now rewarded with a win in the Formula Sport and Bears combination racing. So Sam Willesee gets the job done. Steve Bridge is second. Mark Perry is third. Ash Payne, the ride of the day, from dead motherless last to fourth, and then it was Jason Lamb. Plenty of action still to come here at the Cemetery Circuit. It's F1.
The Boxing Day races from the Whanganui Cemetery Circuit, proudly brought to you by Suzuki.
Damon Rees was the star turn in the F1 class before the heavens opened up at Taupo. But in Mansfield's round 2, there was no beating the Englishman, Richard Cooper. Rees, meanwhile, happy with his efforts.
This weekend's been really good, to be honest. I've personally struggled here on a superbike in the last couple of years, so second, I'm still pretty stoked with, we were there right to the very end in every race, so I gave it my very best from lap 1 to the last lap of every race.
Cooper, the 36-year-old British 2019 Superstock champion from Nottingham, was in a class of his own at Circuit Chris Amon.
We came to Mansfield with, let's say, more experience of the bike, because obviously it's the first time on the bike, and we as soon as we arrived here, I could see that the track was perhaps a little bit easy to learn. The guys at Holden and Sloan Frost Suzuki, they've given me a package that any time I've been past, I've had the answers to return and control the races at my speed, which has been nice.
The circuits of Taupo and Mansfield were one thing, the cemetery circuit quite another.
I'm looking forward to the race. We've pretty much found the pace that we need to be at straight away. I know what we've got to do today for it to really count, and that's the main objective.
Looking for a better showing, the current New Zealand Superbike champion, Dan Mettam.
Yeah, getting better at Mansfield, and results are getting better, and back to 4th in the points now, 1 point behind 3rd, so I've had good results here in the past, so try bring it home in 3rd for the series will be good.
Damon Rees' older brother Mitch was fast as well, top qualifier at Whanganui to set the Carl Cox Rees CBR on pole.
Yeah, we've made a few changes, made the bike a lot better, obviously. Qualified on pole, fastest I've ever been around here and not far off the lap record, so yeah, pretty stoked for the second session of the day.
So on pole position it will be the elder of the Rees brothers, Mitch. Alongside of him will be Richard Cooper, the man that leads the series by one single solitary point from the 92 of Damon Rees. We are set for something special here in this reduced superbike field, or F1 field. The reason it's reduced, no Yamahas in the field. We'll tell you about that. It is Cooper into the front in the Sloan Cox Motorsport GSXR 1000. You ride with him here. 62 Mitch Rees on the Carl Cox Tony Rees motorcycle. Honda in second place. Big wheelie from the two-time Suzuki Series champion. That is Scotty Moyer from Taupo on the number 2. And in behind him, by the look of it, it was the 92, and that is Damo Rees. You're on board here with Mitch Rees, trying to chase down Richard Cooper. He was unbeatable at Mansfield's round 2. He qualified quickest. He won all 3 races over the weekend. He erased a 9-point deficit from the 92 of Damo Rees to come here 1 point ahead. He didn't get the 1 point for qualifying. That went to the bike in second place. That's the 62 of Mitch Rees. And he is getting closer as they work their way down the TSS Red Baron front straight. You're on board here with Richard Cooper looking at the back of the machine. 62 is Mitch Rees. Right in beside him is a man he's battled long and hard with, and that is Scotty Moyer. Scotty Moyer's going for the 3-peat. He's a 2-time back-to-back champion in the Suzuki International Series. At the moment, he is sitting in 3rd place. He had a terrible round 1. He picked up a bug from his young son and was very much below par, but he came good again at Mansfield, so he is in with a shot at the podium. 62 Rees gets a little bit closer to Cooper as they work their way through Robert Holden down the trade zone straight and into that 90-degree turn toward the hooker curves they go now. You've got to take your hat off to Richard Cooper. Yes, he's the 2019 British Superstock champion from the BSB, the British Superbike Championships, but he's learned these circuits so quickly. He qualified second, having never seen Whanganui before. In the past, international riders have sometimes driven a rental car around the circuit. Nothing like that for Richard. He had a bit of a walk, and then he got on his bike this morning and qualified, as I said, in second place. The man in second place was the fastest qualifier, and that was Mitch Rees. Then we go back to Scotty Moyer, and then it's the 92, and that is Damon Rees. Damon Rees sitting second in the points behind the Englishman. 2 points out of the lead in the F1 bikes. Formula One brought to you by Reacher Premium European Motorcycle Apparel, and the New Zealand agent are, of course, White's Power Sport. Cooper, you're on board here with his team manager, if you like. This is Sloan Frost, 2 times the New Zealand Superbike champion. Oh, and he's got it wrong. You heard the over rev. He lost traction in the rear wheel on the big 1000 Suzuki, and the bike spins like a top. And I think that's come to rest in the middle of the circuit. Are we going to see a red flag here? There is the bike. That is most definitely a dangerous position. The officials quickly on the job. The shortened superbike field, remember, no Yamaha riders in the F1 bikes here at Whanganui, has given the officials a chance to get that bike off the circuit. Well done to the officials here at the cemetery circuit. There's so many of them. They're volunteers. They give their time up readily, week in and week out for the Suzuki International Series, and great that the big crowd is applauding them. So disaster averted. We go back to the front of the field. Richard Cooper out of Nottinghamshire, 62, Whakatane's Mitch Rees. Then we go back to the 92, and that is Damon Rees. So the Rees brothers getting together. In fourth place now, it is Scott Moir. Scott Moir looking for a three-peat. We're back on board here with Sloane Frost. This is a repeat of what happened before. You heard the bike break traction. You heard the big over rev. Luckily, Sloane is okay. He's walked back to the start line, so he's okay. The bike probably looking a little bit second-hand. Here it is from Jaden Carrick's machine. Oh, and that was nasty, just about a high side for Sloane Frost. Well, he's had bad luck here before. Here's a past Suzuki Series champion. There is Dan Metham just getting up the inside of Jaden Carrick for position. We go back to the front of the field. Richard Cooper in the lead. There's a pretty intricate regime of stretching between racing. Super fit, nothing of young Mr. Cooper, but man, he can ride a motorcycle. 62, Mitch Rees in second place. Damon, his brother, in third. Then we go back to the two of Scott Moir. These four have cleared away now. Now, the reason that Yamaha aren't here, the Blue Crew said that they didn't want their machines in risk of damaging them at Whanganui. Yes, Rogan Chandler is riding the 600 machine for Blue Crew Yamaha, but he is in fact riding his practice bike. But the likes of the Hugerbosen brothers and Jake Lewis not riding here today. Jake, of course, supporting Avalon Biddle, his fiancée, but not riding. That's why there's no Yamahas in the F1 class. This race winds on, and it's winding on at a fierce pace. The lap record is a 48.709, and they're in the 48s, and they have been for quite some time, the front runners, both Mitch Rees and Richard Cooper. So are we going to see the lap record go here? There is the 92 of Damon Rees. Damon has his future set. He's off to the Northern Hemisphere with Shane Richardson to compete in the Superstock Championships in Great Britain in our off-season. Shane Richardson, another rider that's here but not riding, would have filled out the field in the F1 class. Out onto the Taupo Key, and this is the Sharpaz long haul straight. Cooper hasn't got it all his own way, because I think Mitch Rees is starting to shut him down here. Pretty sure that's what's happening. He got a whole lot closer that time round as they come down Versatile Building Straight and into Robert Holden. You're back on board here with Mitch Rees. That's Richard Cooper in front of him. Well, we saw this at Mansfield. We saw it at Taupo as well, but it was Damon Rees stalking Richard Cooper and in the end passing him. Not so much at Mansfield, but certainly at Taupo. This time it's older brother doing the job. You look right into the face of Mitch Rees as he dives to the inside, heading down into the turn one. Can't get it done there. Cooper shuts the door fairly violently. So it's on for young and old through turn two, the Mars Pet Care corner now, and out onto Taupo Key. They come once again. You're riding, looking out the back of Richard Cooper's Suzuki, the Sloane Frost Racing, Suzuki New Zealand BAS expansion joint sponsored GSXR 1000. Mitch Rees gets a little bit closer to Carl Cox. Tony Rees Motorcycles number 62. Damo behind him in third. Scott Moir has closed up the gap with Damon Rees. So two races in one going on here. You're back on board here with Cooper. Coming down through the Hooker curves, a bit of a wheelie, and heading up towards the Bridgestone Bridge they go once again. 280 odd horsepower at the rear wheel for these 1000cc F1 machines, or New Zealand superbikes. On board here with Mitch Rees. Can he get a little bit closer as they go down to visitwanganui.com short shoot and out onto Taupo Key once again? Cooper in command as he was at Mansfield. Rees hasn't given this one up though. He closes it right up as they head down towards the Suzuki crossing. There's absolutely nothing in this. Oh, and I think Cooper got off the gas a little bit. Mitch Rees didn't. He passes him round the outside. We've got a new race leader in the Formula One Superbikes, and it is Mitchell Rees from Whakatane. What a place to pass. Now can Cooper do anything about it? We're on the final lap. They're going to the checkered flag this time, folks, and Mitch Rees is in the front. Well, he was the fastest qualifier, and I can tell you he's the fastest guy on the racetrack at the moment. He's just done a 48.716 time as the white flag comes out for the 62. On board here with Damon Rees. He's currently back in third place. The front two just starting to get away from him on their last lap now. Can Cooper do anything about it? That's him chasing now. He's led most of this race, but now he is the hunter, not the hunted. The hunted is now the 62 of Mitchell Rees, and he's riding the wheels off the Tony Rees motorcycles, Carl Cox Motorsports CBR 1000. Both the Rees boys having experience in the off-season in Australia, although Mitch has been healing from a particularly badly broken ankle. But he's back to his very best here. Cooper tries a slightly different line as they head over the Bridgestone Bridge. Checkered flag will be out this time, and it's Wakatani's favourite son, Mitch Rees, gets the win in the first of the Formula One races. In second place, it's Richard Cooper. In third place, it'll be the 92, and that is Damon Rees. And in fourth place, it's the two-time Suzuki Series champion, and that is Scott Moir. Here is the replay of the pass. Watch the 62. I don't know if Cooper got a little bit flummoxed, maybe got off the gas just fractionally, but it was the opening that Mitch Rees was looking for, and by the time they got to the Emmets Pedestrian Bridge, we had a new race leader in the F1 Superbikes. There it is from a different angle, on board with Mitch Rees. He won't forget that pass in a hurry. So Mitchell Rees draws first blood in the F1 Superbikes, presented by White's Power Sports. Second place is the Englishman Richard Cooper, then it was Damon Rees, Scott Moir and Dan Needham. Well, number 62, Mitch Rees, is the man of the moment. He's drawn first blood here in the F1 Superbikes, brought to you by White's Power Sports. Richard Cooper was unbeatable at Mansfield. It hasn't turned out that way at Whanganui.
Yeah, it was pretty good. You know, it's one thing practicing and qualifying, but another thing being out there with the guys in a battle. And you know, I led for a few laps at the beginning there, and Mitch came past and looked really comfortable. And I actually picked up a few bits once he'd passed me, because I'm still learning every lap. And we've made a few changes to the bike that hopefully should see us right for race 2, and if we go one better, it'll be ideal.
Yeah, just I don't know what it was. I was just like, oh, I'll just give it a bit of gas here, see if I, get beside him or whatever. And oh, wham! I managed to get up next to him, and obviously took the pass, and away we were.
So more of the same for this next one?
No, I want to get the whole shot and just clear out. That'll be better. Yeah, for sure. I plans to win again and see what we can do. So, yeah. Give it a crack.
Well, the big question is, can Mitch Rees win again? You'll have to come back next week to find out here on CRC Motorsport. The F2s, the Supermotos, the Formula 3s and the Robert Holden Memorial. You won't want to miss that.
The Boxing Day races from the Whanganui Cemetery Circuit, proudly brought to you by Suzuki.
Coverage of the Suzuki International Series is brought to you by Suzuki. Welcome back to part 2 of our coverage of the third and final round of the Suzuki Series from the Cemetery Circuit in Whanganui. There was real drama in round 1 of the F2 600cc racing. Off the line, it was Whanganui's favourite son, Richie Dibbin, on his Total Span Suzuki, followed by Adam Chambers on another Suzuki. Coming to the end of the race, Carl Cox Motorsports' Toby Summers made the pass for the lead as the field headed through the Suzuki crossing into the S's. Unbeknownst to the race leaders, Tarbin Walker had crashed heavily in the same spot just behind them. This brought out the red flag.
I managed to slide past Richie, and then the last lap flag come out and snuck up the inside of Chambers, and then I thought, okay, home and hosed. Come round, someone was under the tyre wall, under the airbags, and they red flagged it, which little bit annoyed, but that's just racing, and that's the 600s. We've had so many red flags in this series and the Nationals last year, but we'll try harder in the next one and put the Carl Cox Motorsport ZX6 back where it should be.
This meant that the race win would go to this man, Adam Chambers, on the Barnes-Jenkins Suzuki. Second place, Toby Summers, and in third, Richie Dibben. Avalon Biddle was making her debut this year at the Cemetery Circuit at Whanganui as part of the third and final round of the Suzuki International Series. Watch for number 22. He set the Carl Cox Motorsport Kawasaki on pole position. That's him down the inside. Great start too coming from number 4, and that is Ashton Hughes. Second in points going in, and the 15 there as well, and that is Rogan Chandler out of Upper Hutt, and he was the points leader going into the racing here today at Whanganui. It is the 22 though of Summers out in the front. 119, Richie Dibben in second place, doing double duty today. You'll see him in the Supermoto racing as well. Then we go back to Ashton Hughes from Palmerston North these days. Tarvin Walker back in the field. Just got a glimpse of the red fairing of Walker. There he is, the 21. Adam Chambers just trying to get around him as they go through the Trade Zone Robert Holden Memorial Corner and up into the Trade Zone turn down towards the Hooker Transport curves now. Just look at the attitude of the bikes as they head up over the Bridgestone Bridge for the first of 10 times. This is the second and final race for the F2. It's brought to you by Aponi Oils, 100% motorcycle oils. Toby Summers, the race leader, heading down into the Mars Pet Care turn and then out along the Sharp as Long Haul Straight. This is probably the fastest part of the circuit here at Whanganui. This 1.6 kilometre circuit, 1 mile in the old language, up through the S's they go, under the Emmets Pedestrian Bridge, down toward the Heads Cemetery. You're on board here with Rogan Chandler. 6 points was his advantage coming in on the Blue Crew Yamaha. It's Ashton Hughes just ahead of him. Hughes was second, Toby Summers was third. Now, is that going to change? Because in race number 1, Rogan Chandler, who we ride with here, finished 4th. Toby Summers finished second, so he picked up a few points. Ashton Hughes was a little further down through the field. Down the TSS Red Baron front straight in front of the big crowd here at Whanganui. Down the inside, the last of the late breakers is young Rogan Chandler from Upper Hutt. Another racer of New Zealand that's been quite a bit of time in Australia in the off-season. Racing in the 300 production class, the Yamaha 300 production class, and also doing a little bit of 600cc racing. Richie Dibben, the man in second place, he did the same thing, but on a 600cc machine, and that's why his talents on board the 600 bike has come on and leaps and bounds. Toby Summers and Richie Dibben, well, they're turning the clock back here at Whanganui because they would have battled long and hard back in the days of Supermoto. This is Adam Chambers, accredited with the win in race 1 after it was red flag. Now, the reason for that is we go back to the last fully recorded lap, and on that last fully recorded lap before the red came out, this man, Adam Chambers, was in the front. There he is, 64, the Barnes-Jenkins Suzuki of Adam Chambers out of the Hawke's Bay. Ashton Hughes in behind him, then it's Rogan Chandler. This is a battle for the minors, 3rd, 4th and 5th. This is what's happening at the front of the field though. There is the 64 of Chambers. Rode the 1000cc superbike machines for a while, but it's always been fast on a 600, especially here at Whanganui. Back on board with him as we work down into the Robert Holden corner. Whanganui Trade Zone, Robert Holden Memorial Turn. Robert Holden, as we told you, lost his life in the Isle of Man, but the winningest rider ever in the history of the Cemetery Circuit. He's won on just about every class there is a motorcycle for. Chambers over the Bridgestone Bridge, back on board here with Chandler, getting a little bit closer now to Ashton Hughes. Hughes on the Triumph 675 Daytona. The 15 of Chandler, that's the Blue Crew Yamaha. So he is getting a little bit closer here to Ashton Hughes as they head through the Mars Pet Care turn and back out onto Taupo Quay, the Sharp as Long Haul Straight. Over the infamous railway track they will go through the crossing by Suzuki headquarters here. Number 23 is Jordan Burley, and right beside him is number 21, and that is Tarvin Walker. Tarvin Walker is the rider that crashed in race number 1 and brought out the red flag. Behind them, number 1. She is the champion of the sports production class in New Zealand, and that is Avalon Biddle. You ride with her here. Avalon making her debut here at Whanganui. We go back to this enthralling battle for the minors, and Chandler once again, he could just about reach out and touch Ashton Hughes as they come over the start-finish line. Now he drives down the inside, and I don't think Hughes has got an answer for it this time. Through turn 1 they go, and we've got a new 3rd place, and it is make it a 4th place, and it is Rogan Chandler. So, will this be enough to garner him his first ever title in the Suzuki International Series? As I said, he was the points leader coming in. Fourth in race number 1. Fourth again here. Back on board. Heading past the big crowd, lining the head cemetery as they come into the Robert Holden Memorial Corner once again. Now, just behind Rogan, it would be Ashton Hughes, second in the points going in. There he is, bike number 4. You're riding here with Avalon Biddle. She's currently sitting in 8th place. Just up ahead of her, Tarbin Walker and Jordan Burley on the 23 on the Suzuki. We'll get to them very shortly. But there is Av with the big number 1 on the plate. Number X is another one of our international visitors. This is Xavier Denis from France. And these guys, or this girl and guy, battling over 8th and 9th position as they head down into turn number 1, the Gilmore Homes turn number 1. On board here with Avalon. Well, she's done such a lot in her fairly short career in motorcycling. Started off in bucket racing, a little bit of a flirtation with motocross, dirt racing, but then it was bucket racing, then it was 125 GPs, and then she hasn't looked back since she's been on the 600 machine. She's competed in on an Italian bike in Moto 3 and Moto GP levels, so she really has packed in a lot of racing, his young Avalon Biddle. Originally from Orewa, north of Auckland, now living with her fiancé, Jake Lewis, in Rangiora. And there she is, and Xavier Denis getting a little bit closer. Our Frenchman back with Avalon as they head down the TSS Red Baron Straight. So we're getting down to the end of this one as we go back on board here with Rogan Chandler. There he is on the Blue Crew Yamaha. And I just wonder if he's done enough here to clinch the title in the F2s, brought to you by iPony Oils. Rogan Chandler rides up towards the Robert Holden Memorial. Meantime, across the top of the Bridgestone Bridge comes the race leader, and this is Toby Summers. 119, Richie Dibbin chasing him, but I think he's going to run out of real estate here as they're on the last lap this time. You're on board with Toby Summers, the Auckland plumber, working his way through the Mars Pet Care turn and down Taupo Key for the last time. The man behind him, number 119, Richie Dibbin, well, he's a local, he's a Whanganui boy, so he'll have a huge cheering section as he tries to chase down Summers. Summers currently third in the points in the iPony Formula 2 class after 2 hard-fought rounds and then the finale here at Whanganui. We started in Taupo, then we went to Manfield, and here we are at the infamous Cemetery Circuit. Couple of corners left in it, and Toby Summers is going to claim the win in this. Fingers crossed there is no red flags to deny him. That's exactly what happened in race number 1. You're on board as he flashes over the Bridgestone overbridge and heads down to the checkered flag. Toby Summers wins race number 2 of Formula 2 here at the Cemetery Circuit in Whanganui. In second place it will be Richie Dibbin, the local, and in third place it's Hawke's Bay's Adam Chambers. Fourth place will go to Rogan Chandler, and that will be enough for him to clinch the F2 Series for 2019.
Had some good results today. Really good fun racing around Cemetery Circuit. It's been an emotional day for me. You know, not sure that I'm going to be doing any more racing in the near or distant future. Yeah, it's been cool just to wear the Carl Cox shirt and ride for such a legend like Carl Cox. Hopefully he's seen that race and he'll be happy with the win.
After a few years of trying, the F2 win goes to Upper Hutt's Rogan Chandler.
Yeah, I feel pretty good. It's my first title on the 600, and yeah, I've been in the class. It's my 3rd year now, so, and I got a big crew around me, so it's cool to finally get something done.
Plenty more to come here from Whanganui, including Supermoto, when we come back.
The Boxing Day races from the Whanganui Cemetery Circuit, proudly brought to you by Suzuki.
The start of the first Aramax Supermoto race was an all-Whanganui affair. At the front, points leader Richie Dibbin, number 119, 13 Scott Dowman, and in third, Mr. Supermoto. The unwhittling started this class years ago on a Kawasaki motocrosser racing in Formula 3. Craig Cudge Scott, number 62 on the Honda. Before long, status quo would be resumed, and it was Dibben who was clearing out in front. Dowman still in second, and Scott hanging on to third place from Nick Payne, number 151. By checkered flag time, it was the now familiar sight of Richie Dibben taking another win and getting closer to clinch the Moto title again. Heading from the dummy grid, Richie Dibben really had to only finish to clinch the title here in 2019. Off the line, it was again Scott Dowman on the Honda in the front. Great start to Vetch New Zealand motocross champion Mitch Rowe on his new Husqvarna machine, number 007, with Dibben doing all he had to do, sitting in second place. Dowman held the lead going down Taupo Key. Coming towards the Robert Holden turn, Dibben pounced. Dowman had no answer, and once again, Dibben had hit the front. A titanic battle had developed behind the leaders, Rowe holding out Craig Scott before the man who supervises the construction of this amazing circuit overshot turn one. Again, it was the unbeatable Richie Dibben taking the win and the series by 45 points from Russell Josiah and James Clark.
Yeah, no, just having fun out there, and I've been on them a fair few years now, so I know I like back in my hand. So yeah, just enjoying it, and yeah, putting in the laps and a bit of a show for the crowd, and yeah, it's good fun.
Probably qualify for the Robert Holden on this as well as the 600.
Yeah, probably do pretty quick times around here on this, and you know, just a motocross bike, it handles all the bumps and whatnot, and it's good fun. I do enjoy it, and but yeah, get some good pace out of it. So.
Building future champions was the slogan for the Gixxer Cup when it started back in 2017, and nothing's changed in 2019. Along with the tweaking of some of the age restriction rules, Suzuki have added in a mentoring role with Dennis Charlotte, Soane Frost, Dan Meetham and 9 times New Zealand champion Andrew Stroud. He shared his thoughts.
Corner speed's about the same, just acceleration's about miles different. Yeah, these have got maybe 14 horsepower and the Superbike's got 200 horsepower. There's quite a difference there, but for learning racecraft and things, you can't beat this class, really. It's like a Moto3 championship.
It's Andrew's young son Jesse that leads the championship heading into Whanganui. Winning is great, but the real buzz is racing with your dad, or in Andrew's case, your son.
That's the coolest part about it. Yeah, coming up behind Jesse and he looks around and sees me, and then, you know, then he disappears towards the front where I'm just hanging on the back of the group. Yeah.
Oh, it's just so much fun. Love being out there racing with him. And yeah, it's great to see him come up and pass me, beat me yesterday, so it's good bit of banter. But yeah, just love it. He's out there, he gives me plenty of room, which is good. So yeah, real excited for Whanganui, looking real forward to it. Love racing there. And yeah, just good to get Manfred out of the way, bit scary, so a lot of passing, you can end up whatever place, so I thought it was a real good weekend.
These small 150cc powered machines have again taken the Suzuki International Series by storm, providing easily the closest racing seen in a year. Putting all of the 15 horsepower to the ground the best was number 4 Zach Fuller from Taupri, but coming over from the outside, points leader and defending champion Jesse Stroud. This is what we mean by close racing, a large blanket covering the field. Before long, it had become a 2-horse race, quite unusual in this class, between Stroud on the 1 and Fuller on the 4. Even though he slipstreamed him all the way to the finish line, Zach Fuller would have to settle for second, with Jesse Stroud drawing first blood and taking the win on the Gixxer. Race 2 hadn't gone too far before this. A red flag came out and the race was aborted. On the restart, it was again Fuller and Stroud to the 4. Shane Miller through turn 1 in 3rd place. Stroud in front on Taupo Key, the drafting began in earnest. The red flag would make another appearance and cut the race short by 2 laps. Zach Fuller declared the winner. The Formula 3 class, brought to you by Bike Talk Taumarunui, is the biggest class we've had in the Suzuki International Series. And watch for the number 45, that's Lee Tidman on the little Yamaha. He is the points leader. 80, Zach Fuller, who we've just seen racing in the Gixxers. He tries to get around the outside of him. And watch too for number X, and that is Xavier Dennis from France. He's riding 2 classes today in Whanganui. He's riding the F2s and also a Kawasaki 650 in this, the F3. It is Lee Tidman, though, that leads them across the railway line through the Suzuki crossing and up toward the Emmets Bridge for the first time. He is the defending champion in the Suzuki Series. You may cast your mind back to last year when Jacob Stroud threw his championship chances away on the Mars Pet Care turn on, I think, the last lap of the last race. And he was pretty frustrated, to say the least. He is in the field riding bike number 17. So keep an eye out for Jacob Stroud. So the 4 of them, it is the 45 of Tidman, and is the X of Denise, and then it is Zach Fuller, and then it would be Stephen Bridge out of Narrawahia on the Ducati, and then I think you'd find it's number 17 of Jacob Stroud. Well, these little Formula 3 machines, this one in particular, powered by a YZ450 Yamaha engine, but slotted into an RS125 Honda 2-stroke Grand Prix bike frame, have really ruled the roost here in Formula 3 for quite so many years. Scott Moyer raced a bike very similar to this. So too did Jason Easton going back in the day. All problems here for the Frenchman. He puts his hand up. That's a mechanical issue for Xavier Denise, so he's not going to go too much further. We zoom in on Zach Fuller out of Taupri. There is Stephen Bridge, and there is the man that eventually finished second in the Suzuki Series last year in Formula 3, and that is Jacob Stroud, son of 9 times New Zealand Superbike champion Andrew. So you just see him tagging onto the back of this front bunch. In behind him, it would be Nick Kampenhout on the 196, and then Carl Hooper, and the man that's currently 3rd in the points on the Gavin Veltmeyer Suzuki, and that is Matt Dunlop, number 81. You just see him in the back of the shot. This is Jacob Stroud as they work their way through the Suzuki crossing and up towards the Emmets pedestrian bridge. Jacob, another one of New Zealand's top riders who's spent a lot of time in the New Zealand off-season overseas, raced up in Europe, raced in the United States as well. So Jacob, kind of the flag bearer for the Stroud family in their racing, of course, but now Jesse just crowned the Gixxer Cup champion here in the Suzuki International Series. We zoom in on Stephen Bridge from Narrawahia, the F1 Engineering Motorcycle Centre Ducati, number 294. Ahead of him, number 80, that's Zach Fuller. He's another one that started in the Gixxer Cup a couple of years ago, but now branching out, racing in 2 classes this weekend at Whanganui. Currently sitting in 2nd place, Lee Tidman just starting to get away. Lee Tidman from Taumarunui, Stephen Bridge, we mentioned, from Narrawahia. There he is, just trying to stay with Fuller as they work down the versatile building straight down towards the Robert Holden corner once again. Always oversubscribed the Formula 3 class. In fact, there was a waiting list of 20 people looking to get entries, and they couldn't because of the grid size rules around the Taupo circuit and also Manfield. Bike Talk Taumarunui bring it to you, and 17, Jacob Stroud. Well, he's got a bit of work to do if he wants to win this one. Currently sitting back in 4th spot. Lee Tidman just starting to get away. There's Tidman coming out of the Mars Pet Care turn. Zach Fuller through in 2nd place, then it's Stephen Bridge. There is a very complicated formula of rules for Formula 3. There is certain CC capacities in single-cylinder engines and multi-cylinder engines. You'll see a few GSXR 600s, but they virtually bank off 1 cylinder. So they're only really 3-cylinder machines. And I know Chris Osborne, who is Avalon Biddle's engineer, was one of the early pace setters and early flag bearers of that technical development. 45, Tidman, well, he's gone the other way. He's put a little 125 Honda GP frame to use with a YZ450 Yamaha engine in it, and it's working out for him. As I said, he's the defending champion. He's currently the points leader going in. There is Zach Fuller. Xavier Dennis was second in the points, but of course he's now a DNF because he had a mechanical issue in the early going of this racing, and that should have handed a higher podium spot to bike number 81, and that is Matt Dunlop. And Matt Dunlop being engineered and helped by Gavin Veltmeyer, who absolutely ruled the roost in Formula 3 for quite a few years. There is Fuller, currently sitting in second place. It doesn't look like Stephen Bridge can make much of a dent on his lead at the moment, and the same can be said for Zach Fuller, because Lee Tidman's just starting to stretch away, the man from Taumarunui, sponsored by Gillison Contracting. This class really triumphs the Kiwi ingenuity, the number 8 wire mentality of New Zealand engineers, because there is all sorts of amazing constructions here. If we have a look there for Carl Hooper on the 28. Nick Kampenhout is on the Husqvarna machine. He's currently in 5th place. So he's chasing down Jacob Stroud. Already the front runner's starting to get up into the lap traffic here at Whanganui. The lap just a fraction over a mile long. Doesn't take these guys too long to get around. They're in about the 52, 53 second bracket. And you can appreciate lots of different power and lots of different power characteristics. So as they go through the lap traffic, this is come into the hands of Zach Fuller and also Stephen Bridge. So they've closed up on Tidman as the laps wind down. White flag out, 1 to go now. Lee Tidman's got a bit of a fight on his hands here, because now there is a lap rider in behind him, but then it is Zach Fuller. Zach Fuller disposes of the lap rider. Now he will be looking for the number 1 spot, and Bridge is right there as well. And I would suggest that Bridge has probably got a horsepower advantage over the 2 bikes in front of him. Tidman leads through the Suzuki crossing. Here comes the attack from Fuller. He tries to drive up around the outside. That was the spot where Mitch Rees put the pass on Richard Cooper in the Formula 1. That's still to come here at Whanganui, but we watch this enthralling battle. It's taken a while to develop, but it is on for young and old now. Lee Tidman leads it, this to clinch the title for 2 years in a row for the man from Taumarunui, but is he going to be able to do it? Here comes the charge from Taumarunui Zach Fuller as they head up over the Bridgestone Bridge for the last time. It's going to be a little too late for Fuller, I would think, and Tidman will carry the day. Zach Fuller goes across the line in 2nd place, and then it would be Stephen Bridge in 3rd. In 4th place would be Jacob Stroud, and in 5th, Nick Kampenhout. So Lee Tidman will have done enough to clinch the series title. Still more to come here at Whanganui. We've got the F1 and, of course, the Robert Holden Memorial to look out for.
The Boxing Day races from the Whanganui Cemetery Circuit, proudly brought to you by Suzuki.
Welcome back to the streets of Whanganui. It's the 3rd and final round of the Suzuki International Series, and this is what the big crowds come to see. This is Formula 1. Brought to you by Reacher Clothing, motorcycle clothing. There is the man of the moment. This is Richard Cooper. He had a very slender points lead going in. 62, the one that's drawn first blood in Formula 1. That's Mitch Rees. Watch 2 for number 92 on the black Rees motorcycle, Carl Cox Honda. That is Damon Rees. Oh, threading the needle between Lee Johnson and Mitch Rees was Richard Cooper. So Cooper will go into the front. We're on the board here with Jaden Carrick out of Whanganui. Just up ahead of him, it's the number 2. He is the 2-time defending Suzuki Series champion, and that is Scott Moyer from Taupo. But it's Cooper in the front. Started with the Sloane Frost Suzuki on pole position, and Mitch Rees goes past him, and that's exactly the same spot that he passed him in the first Formula 1 race. So Mitch Rees is on fire here on the 62, the Honda 1000, the Tony Rees Motorcycles Honda Driver Insurance's bike. In 2nd place now, it's Richard Cooper. Cooper doesn't have to do that much. He's probably looking to secure the win here for his sponsor in his New Zealand visit, and that is Sloane Frost Motorsport. But it is Cooper on the sea. We're back on board here with Jaden Carrick. He's had a mixed bag in the Suzuki International Series this time round. Another one, son of Whanganui, that got his start in Supermoto racing, moved on to the 600s, but now is in the, I should say, the Whanganui Toyota Kawasaki 1000, the ZX10. There is Mitch Rees. son of a famous father in Tony. Tony has won the Robert Holden Memorial 7 times. I know that both Mitch and Damo would love to replicate what their dad's done. Tony is the mentor these days, although he's getting over some pretty horrific injuries from a crash earlier on at Pukekohe. You're on board here with Damon Rees. Just ahead of him, Lee Johnson, Isle of Man TT winner, riding the 3rd of the Sloan Frost Motorsport Suzukis. Started life in the Suzuki Series on the M1 Motorsport BMW, but now on the Suzuki. Lee making his 2nd visit to New Zealand. There he is, letter L, very distinctive with the pink helmet. You ride with Damon Rees here as he tries to work over the Northern Irishman as they head down onto the Taupo Quay once again. Well, judging by that shot, it looks like Richard Cooper getting a little bit closer to Mitch Rees. There is Lee Johnson. You're back on board here with Daniel Medham. He is the current New Zealand Superbike champion, recovering from all sorts of serious injuries when he raced up in the Northern Hemisphere in our off-season, now getting back to his very best on the Coleman Suzuki. Daniel Medham, another one that always goes well here around the cemetery circuit. Back on board here with Damon Rees on the big Honda Fireblade. Ahead of him, Lee Johnson. Lee Johnson here a couple of years ago, and back this time, as I said, with M1 Motorsport and the BMW, but now on the Sloan Frost Suzuki. I can tell you that unfortunately Sloan's Suzuki too badly damaged, so he's not a starter in this, the 2nd of the Formula 1 races. Daniel Medham is our camera bike as we go back to the front of the field here. 62, Mitch Rees. Right in behind him now, Richard Cooper. Cooper getting a little bit closer. Well, he's had his pocket picked on that very corner as they work their way into the S's. It happened before. It's happened again. You're on board here with Damon Rees, currently sitting in 3rd place. But the first 2 starting to get away from him a little bit as he works his way down the trade zone straight into the trade zone corner through the Hooker Transport curves and heading up towards the Bridgestone overbridge. That's pretty near a lap here at Whanganui. Mitch Rees, boy, he's done nothing wrong. He qualified on pole. He won the first race. He came perilously close to taking the lap record. In fact, he did take the lap record on the last lap of the race, and these guys are running on lap record pace now. Jaden Kerrick gets very close to the hay bales as we ride with him here down Taupo Quay once more, and this is the Sharp As long haul straight. So this field's starting to bunch up just a little bit. Look at Cooper, he's just been working away. He's been watching the lines that Rees has been taking. He's been taking slightly different lines. Here's a man that sits in 3rd place at the moment. This is Damon Rees. Into the trade zone corner he goes. There is the C of Richard Cooper. You see how he tries slightly different lines to what Mitch Rees is doing. It's not about following, it's about racing, and that's what these guys are doing. Number 2. That is Scott Moyer out of Taupo. He's a 2-time defending champion of the Suzuki International Series. Don't think he's going to make it 3 this time. He had a terrible start to the series. He caught a bug off his young son and was very much below par at his home track of Taupo. Jaden Carrick, the Whanganui favourite son, sitting back there in 7th place at the moment. There is Dan Medham. Medham currently sitting in 5th. Just up ahead of him is Scotty Moyer. You're on board here with Medham. 92 is Damon Rees. These guys getting ready for the upcoming New Zealand Superbike Road Racing Championships. There is Medham. So behind them now would be Lee Johnson. This is Damo. Came in with 1 point separating himself from Richard Cooper. But it was this man, 62, that out-qualified all of them. This is Mitch Rees. He won race number 1. He's leading race number 2. You're on board with the leader here as he works his way through the Mars Pet Care turn out onto the Sharp As long haul straight. Cooper trying to get a little bit closer as they work their way towards the Suzuki crossing. This is the part of the circuit where Mitch is faster. This is where he made the pass on Cooper. You see the rest of the field thundering through here. Well, Cooper doesn't look like he's got an answer at the moment. Mitch Rees calling the shots as they head down into Whanganui Trade Zone, Robert Holden Memorial Corner. This 90-degree turn up the short chute, the trade zone straight into the trade zone curves they come now. On board here with Daniel Medham on bike number 1. Behind him it's the L, that's Lee Johnson. Then we go back to 2, and that is Scott Moyer from Taupo. Jaden Carrick on the Kawasaki. Got a bit of work to do to catch them, back in 6th or 7th at the moment. We go back to the front of the field. Jaden Carrick coming down the visitwanganui.com straight. Just losing a little bit of touch with those in front of him. This is the fastest area of the circuit here at Whanganui. There is Jaden Carrick on the Whanganui Toyota Gilmore Homes supported Kawasaki ZX10. Under the Emmett's pedestrian bridge he goes. You ride with him here as he heads up Heads Road. The cemetery on his right as he banks it into the 90-degree turn that is the Robert Holden corner. Down the trade zone straight he comes. Another 90-degree turn will see him right in the middle of the Hooker Transport curves and heading for the Bridgestone overbridge. These guys have just come over the bridge now, and it's still Mitch Rees out of Whakatane in the front. Rees leading Richard Cooper as they head through the Mars Pet Care turn and out onto the Taupo Quay, sharp as long haul straight. Mitch will be looking to consolidate his position of third in the points in the richer premium European motorcycle apparel sponsored Formula One. Richard Cooper looking at the back of his bike. You can see he's got a healthy advantage over Damon Rees, and he's getting a little bit closer to his older brother Mitch as they work their way down towards the overbridge once again. Once again, you see the slightly different lines. Cooper on the Suzuki, the Sloan Frost Suzuki, just taking a tighter line and getting a little bit closer to the apex. Is it getting him closer to Mitch Rees? I don't know that it is. 1 lap to go. The white flag is out. Mitch Rees, is he going to make it 2 for 2 in F1 here at Whanganui? Richard Cooper's going to try and deny him. Of course, Cooper is the 2019, the current British Superbike champion in the Superstock class. Up there in the UK, of course, Damon Rees heading up to the UK to run in that very class with Shane Richardson. Richardson is here. He's not riding today. I mentioned it before. No Yamaha Superbikes in the field today, and that was a directive from the Blue Crew. No taken away, though, from Mitch Rees. Got his start way back when in junior motocross, as did his young brother. But, boy, he has come good here on the Superbike. The Rees Motorcycles, Carl Cox Motorsport supported number 62. The Honda of Mitch Rees is going to do it again. He's going to make it 2 for 2 in Formula One, and there's nothing that Richard Cooper can do about it. He looks behind to see where third place is, and that will be Damon Rees. And behind him, a pretty strong finish for Daniel Metham and Lee Johnson. But Mitch Rees, who is going to stop him with the Robert Holden still to come? So what is it about Whanganui, mate? Another win in F1?
Oh, yeah, same thing. You had to make it happen again, and yeah, obviously Richard was there the whole way, made it hard for me. So I was pushing, and you never know how close they are. So I think I took the lap record then. So yeah, over the moon.
Well, can Mitch Rees make it the clean sweep? The Robert Holden Memorial when we come back.
The Boxing Day races from the Whanganui Cemetery Circuit, proudly brought to you by Suzuki.
Well, this is the one that they've all come to see. This is the Whanganui Auto Wreckers Whanganui Heavy Towing Robert Holden Memorial. And it's decided on lap time. So we've got 600cc machines, we've got F1 machines, we've got Supermoto machines, we've got F3 machines in the field. But the ones that will be doing all the damage at the front. Look out for number C, that is Richard Cooper. Look out for number L in the distinctive pink helmet, that is Lee Johnson. And of course, watch out for the 62 of Mitch Rees. He's been unbeatable so far in the F1s. So watch for Rees down on the inside. Cooper alongside him. Then it is number 2, that's Scott Moyer. He had his pocket picked last year by Peter Hickman. And alongside of Moyer, it is the 92, and that is Damo Rees. The lights go out, we get racing in the best of the starts. Looks like it's come from 62. No, it isn't. It's the C, Richard Cooper. And going right from the outside to the inside of the track is Damon Rees. And in fact, he nearly cut off his brother as they go through the Mars Pet Care turn. So Richard Cooper, well, he's done what he set out to do. By his finish in the second of the F1 races, he's taken the F1 Series title, but he would love to add to the mantelpiece at home the Robert Holden Memorial. He's in the position to do it at the moment, although Damon Rees has snuck right up onto the back of the Sloan Frost Suzuki. And that's his brother, and we ride with him here. That's Mitch as they work their way into the trade zone turn, chasing down his younger brother Damon. But it's Cooper out in the front. Once again, you see the different lines. He hugs the inside or the outside of the turn, I should say, before he lines up the Bridgestone overbridge, does the C. We're looking at the back of the Suzuki now, looking at Damon Rees. Then we cut to the outside shot. Oh, just things getting a little bit untidy under brakes as they go through the Gilmore Holmes turn 1 for Richard Cooper, but he stays in the front of the field. On board here with Damon Rees, trying to close up the gap between himself and the Englishman. And then it's Mitch Rees in behind him, and then I think it would be Scotty Moir. Scotty Moir, as I said, had his pocket picked. Maybe he celebrated too soon last year, and he was pipped by Peter Hickman. Hickman became only the second international rider to win the Robert Holden Memorial since its inception. The other rider is Dan Stouffer from Australia. So we're on board here with Damon Rees looking out the back toward his older brother. And he's getting perilously closer to Richard Cooper, and he passes him as they come over the Bridgestone overbridge. Well, that was a daring move, but it's worked for Damo Rees, so the 92 goes into the front. Cooper back into second place. Then it's Mitch Rees, and they've all closed up because Scott Moir is in this battle as well. That's him on bike number 2, and that is the Suzuki New Zealand CD Vandermeer Builders GSXR 1000. So along Taupo Key they go once again. The race leader is number 92. C. Cooper closes up the gap, but so too does Mitch Rees. Riding here with Cooper looking out the back of the Suzuki and watching the handling of Mitch Rees' Rees Motorcycles Honda. There is nothing in this, and there's plenty of laps left to run. It's the most prestigious trophy, other than a New Zealand Championship, on the New Zealand calendar. It's the Robert Holden Memorial. And did I see Damo Rees make a little bit of a mistake? I think I did, because Cooper's going to come round the outside of him, and Rees takes it straight back. Well, he just ran a little bit wide coming out of Robert Holden. Cooper passed, or tried to pass, couldn't get it done, and Damo Rees goes back in the front. Mitch Rees now under some intense pressure from Scott Moir. This is a battle further down through the field. In fact, this is just outside the top 10. Jordan Burley in front of Tarbin Walker. Remember the Robert Holden Memorial brought to you by Whanganui Auto Wreckers and Heavy Towing Whanganui. Decided on lap times if you're one of the fastest riders, whether it be Supermoto, Formula 1, Formula 2, Formula 3, Bears, you get to be in the field. There is Jordan Burley, there is Tarbin Walker, and number 294 is Stephen Bridge on the Ducati. So Bridge has got through from the Bears. Tarbin Walker's probably done it through the F1, and Jordan Burley would have done the same. Up into the Robert Holden turn they go once again. Walker in front for the moment. Back to the front of the field, 92 just extending a little bit. That is Damon Rees. Richard Cooper comes straight back at him though as they work through the Gilmore Holmes turn number 1. Mitch Rees in third place. Then we go back to number 2, and that is Scotty Moir, and these 4 have broken away from the rest of the field. Daniel Medham through in 5th, and then Lee Johnson. Along Taupo Key they go once again. This is a part of the circuit where Cooper is fast, because he closes up the gaps as we ride with him here under the Emmets Bridge, heading up towards Robert Holden once again. This is the view from Mitch Rees, currently sitting in 3rd place. Ahead of him it's the Englishman on the Sloane Frost Suzuki, and that is Richard Cooper. Now we're looking out the back of Richard Cooper's Suzuki, looking at Mitch Rees. Just getting tailed off a little bit there is Scotty Moir. 92 continues to lead it. Cooper again challenges as they head towards the Bridgestone Bridge, but he hasn't got an answer for young Damon Rees at the moment. Damon's been racing in the Australian Superbike Championships in our off-season. He's about to head to England with Shane Richardson to race over there, I guess against Richard Cooper again. Cooper, of course, is the current British Superstock champion. There he is, let us see. He's already clinched the Suzuki International Series by his 2 results today, but the Robert Holden is a standalone. It's the one everyone wants to win, and at the moment it is slowly but surely developing into a 2-horse race, because Damo Rees and Richard Cooper are just starting to put a little bit of daylight between themselves and Mitch Rees. You're on board here with Mitch Rees. You see the elastic starting to snap as they go through the trade zone corner and head towards the Bridgestone Bridge once again. 92 repels all challenges as they come up and over the top again. Little bit of a head shake for the big Honda. Richard Cooper tries to capitalise, can't quite get close enough, and Mitch Rees right back in it. Well, who's going to win this race? You couldn't pick it at the moment. There's laps to run here at Whanganui. It's always an absolute stunner, the Robert Holden Memorial. It certainly lived up to its advanced billing last year when Peter Hickman took the win from Scott Moir. At the moment, though, it is Damon Rees, the Kiwi, leading the Englishman, and that is Richard Cooper. Cooper has a good long look on the outside as they work their way through the S's. Did he make the pass stick? I don't think he did. You're watching number 62. That's Mitch Rees in 3rd. This is 15, Rogan Chandler. He'd be one of the top 600 riders as he works his way through the crossing. Already picked the title up in the F2 competition this season in the Suzuki International. He's getting ready for the NZSBK Championship. You ride with him here as he works through Robert Holden, the Blue Crew Yamaha rider. Another one that got his start in 125 GPs, also races in historic racing as well. Over the Bridgestone Bridge he comes on. There's a problem out there for the 91, so his race is done. So hasn't gone at all well for some, just parking on the side of the road as the leaders go through. Well, so far so good. They've been lucky with the lap traffic, but maybe that luck's going to change because there are riders coming up that are going, well, not half the pace, but probably a quarter the pace that these four are doing. So back on board here with Mitch Rees as they work their way towards the Bridgestone Overbridge once again. A little bit of daylight between Cooper and Damon Rees as they come up over the top, down past the start-finish line. On board here with Cooper, looking back at Mitch Rees. These three started to break away. Scott Moore just here off the pace for the present time. So this is the last lap. It's put up or shut up time for Damo Rees, for Richard Cooper, for Mitch Rees. And lap riders, are they going to play a part in this one? Number 132 is Dan McKenzie. 42 is Reese Lindsay. The quick boys are coming. Remember, they're racing to the checkered flag. They're not going to be asking for taking prisoners here. All you got to do as a lap rider is hold your line. Diving down to the inside goes Damo Rees, but unfortunately the same thing for Dan McKenzie, and that's balked Damo, and that's allowed Richard Cooper to get into the front. Well, what an opportune time to make the pass. They're running to the checkered flag, and Richard Cooper from Nottinghamshire in the UK is going to win the Robert Holden Memorial by fairly fortuitous circumstances. Number C, Richard Cooper, gets the win, just as his countrymate Peter Hickman did last year. In second place, he'll be gutted with that. That's Damon Rees, and in third place it will be Mitch Rees. Well, they say it was a race of changing fortunes, and it certainly was, but fortune favoured the brave in the form of Richard Cooper. So he takes out the Whanganui Auto Wreckers Heavy Towing Whanganui Robert Holden Memorial for 2019. Damon Rees, you can see it in his body language. He's not happy. He's not happy at all. What a way to lose the most prestigious race in New Zealand. Congratulations though to Richard Cooper. He wins the Robert Holden Memorial from Damon and Mitch Rees. Scott Moyer is fourth. Victory celebrations for Richard Cooper. Toby Summers comes over to congratulate him. But let's hear from the man that had the best seat in the house on that pass, and that is Mitch Rees.
It was one of those sort of races that's quite hard because you're the same speed, but you're fast in different areas, so and you can't really make the move happen. So I pretty much just had to follow then, and I was just probably not good enough to make it happen. And yeah, I mean, hey, third's still good. I'm pretty happy. You know, won the 2 F1 races in the overall today, and third in the series. So yeah, couldn't be happier.
Damo, I don't know, it just wasn't your day?
I guess not, no. I mean, I've had a good time. It's been a good day, and I rode really well. That's how I think anyway. But yeah, I'm pretty gutted. I can't say I've ever felt this bad coming second place in my life.
Richard, it'd be fair to say you came, you saw, you conquered.
Yeah, it looks that way. You know, to win the overall in race 2 just then was pretty much what I was aiming for. I didn't think it'd be possible to win today. Mitch had some great pace, but in the Robert Holden just then, Damo came out all guns blazing, and you know, I really enjoyed the race. 3/4 of the race distance, I actually lost my front brake due to the nature of the track. I think it just boiled up, and I had to keep pumping the brake on the way into the corner there, and it was a little bit sketchy, but we got to the back markers, and Damo was doing 2 of them first, and he sort of went to the inside, and I really had no other option than to let it run around the outside, and timed it to perfection really, because I just blocked at the last 2 corners there. And to win the Robert Holden, I think there's only 2 international riders that have done that before, and to do it for Sloan Frost and the guys at TSS Suzuki and Red Baron, I think it's just topped off a pretty awesome holiday.
Well, there's no doubt about that. The man of the series in the F1 was Richard Cooper from Great Britain, but you've got to feel desperately sorry for Damon Rees. He tried everything he had and unfortunately thwarted with a couple of corners still to go. That is it from Whanganui. That is it from the Suzuki International Series for 2019. We look forward to bringing you more next year. Here are the overall situation from all the classes we've covered. In Formula 1, it was Richard Cooper taking the win. In F2, Rogan Chandler. Formula 3 went to Lee Tedman. The Gixxer Cup went to Jesse Stroud. The Bears, Senior, Ash Payne, and Junior, Guy Mendes.
The Boxing Day races from the Whanganui Cemetery Circuit, proudly brought to you by Suzuki.